In the spring of 1981, in a quiet resort town in Northern California, a family seeking peace became the center of one of America's most chilling mysteries. Inside Cabin 28 of Keddie, a night of unimaginable violence would leave 4 people dead, a child missing, and investigators baffled for decades. This is the haunting case of the Keddie Cabin murders. Keddie was a small rustic town in the Sierra Nevada mountains. Once a holiday spot for travelers, by the 1980s it had become a quiet, struggling community where cabins were rented out at low cost. In late 1980, Glenna Sue Sharp, a 36-year-old mother of 5, moved into Cabin 28. She had separated from her husband and relocated from Connecticut to California, hoping to rebuild her life. With little income, Sue relied on welfare and odd jobs, but she was known as a dedicated and protective mother. The family included her oldest son, John, 15, daughters Sheila, 14, and Tina, 12, and her 2 younger boys, Ricky, 10, and Greg, 5. Despite financial struggles, Sue was determined to give her children stability and safety. But beneath the surface, not everything was peaceful. Some neighbors resented Sue's independence, and there were rumors of tension between her and certain local residents. On the evening of April 11th, John invited his friend Dana Wingate, 17, for a sleepover. Sheila spent the night at a friend's house nearby. Inside Cabin 28 that night were Sue, her sons John, Ricky, and Greg, daughter Tina, and their friend Justin, who was staying over. At some point during the night, the course of their lives changed forever. On the morning of April 12th, Sheila returned home. When she opened the front door, she was met with a scene she would never forget. Inside the living room were the bodies of her mother Sue, her brother John, and his friend Dana. They had been bound with tape and cords and attacked with multiple weapons. The brutality suggested anger and a personal motive. Even more unsettling, Sue's daughter Tina was missing. Incredibly, the younger boys, Ricky, Greg, and Justin, were found alive and unharmed in a bedroom. Whoever committed the crime had spared them. The Plumas County Sheriff's Department began its investigation, but from the very beginning, serious mistakes were made. The crime scene was not secured properly. Neighbors and volunteers walked in and out, contaminating evidence. Evidence was overlooked. A bloody knife was reportedly found later in a trash can outside. Statements were inconsistent. Witnesses were not thoroughly questioned, and some potential leads were ignored. From what little evidence was collected, it was clear that more than one person may have been involved. Multiple weapons had been used, and the crime seemed to require more than a single attacker. Attention soon turned to 2 men living nearby. Marty Smart, a neighbor who lived with his wife Marilyn and stepson Justin, the boy who had been sleeping in the cabin. Marty was described as volatile and had a history of conflicts. Some said he disliked Sue because she advised Marilyn to leave him. Bo Boubed, a friend of Marty's, an older man with a troubling past who had recently moved to the area. Marilyn later stated that she believed her husband and Bo were involved. Even more disturbing, Marty reportedly admitted in counseling sessions that he had hurt Sue. Despite this, authorities did not pursue the lead aggressively. For 3 long years, the fate of 12-year-old Tina remained unknown. Then, in 1984, a discovery was made nearly 30 miles away in the woods: a skull and fragments of bone. Forensic testing confirmed they belonged to Tina Sharp. Her disappearance and death added another layer of horror to the case. Why was she taken? Was she the main target? And who left her remains so far from home? Decades passed and the case went cold. Cabin 28 was eventually demolished, but the mystery lingered. In the 2010s, renewed investigations uncovered new evidence. A box of files revealed a handwritten note believed to be from Marty Smart, suggesting knowledge of the crime. Modern DNA testing on old samples produced partial profiles, but not enough to secure convictions. To this day, law enforcement officials state that they believe multiple people were responsible, and that the case could still be solved with new evidence or testimony. The Keddie Cabin murders remain unsolved after more than 4 decades. Why were Sue, John, Dana, and Tina targeted? Why were the younger boys spared? Was the crime a personal vendetta or something even darker? And did local connections prevent justice from being served? The answers lie buried in a case that continues to disturb investigators and true crime followers alike. Cabin 28 is gone, but the shadow of that night still hangs over Keddie. And until the truth is revealed, the mystery will remain one of the most haunting unsolved cases in American history. Subscribe and follow for more.